Hey, welcome back to Squarebody Stuff. I am Chad, your host. This is Squeaky, my 78 C10 stepside that I call my race truck. He's not really a race truck. I do take him to the drag strip and I play around with him, but he's not really fast yet. I'm working on that. I've got plans for making him faster. But today I'm going to give him a checkup. I had a couple cylinders that's fouling plugs out, and I know this motor's wore out. I knew it was wore out when I put the cam and everything in there. I've got some videos. I'll put some links up in there in the corner to where you can click on those to get caught up on what this engine is, what I've done to it, what the truck's about. I don't want to get into it here, waste a bunch of time. But I'm going to give him a checkup, give him a compression test, check all the plugs, see what they're doing. But before I do that, I'm going to hook up a permanent switch underneath the hood to where I can bump them over as I'm doing a compression test and have that permanently mounted underneath the hood somewhere so I can have it, if I'm at the track or something like that, I can bump him over if I need to and not have to have someone in the cab or have something I have to try to rig up at the track. It's going to be a permanent deal. So we'll do that and we'll get started. Alright, to get started on our remote switch, I've got some wire. Actually, I was pretty lucky to find this, because it's a purple and a red, and that's what colors I wanted, because the purple wire is what wire I'm tapping into that goes down to your starter. So I've got this. It's going to look pretty neat. I got the switch, a push button switch, piece of 1/2 inch PEX that this switch slides down into. Pretty decent. I'll put a piece of tape or something around there to kind of hold it in. So I'll have a little bit of a handle for my push button. And I'll show you where I'll be tapping into. This wire right here is the purple wire coming from your ignition switch in the cab, and it goes down to your solenoid on your starter. So whenever you turn the key, this is hot, makes your starter work. So I'll tap into this over here, and then this junction block up here, which is always hot. It's always got 12 volts going to it, whether the key's on or off. So I'll tap in the other side to this. That way I always have a way to bump it over with the key off. It works. See, it comes up to here, goes to there, to the junction block, down to here. I got plenty of cable, maybe a little bit too much, but this way I can be in the truck also, or underneath it if I need to be working on something underneath. I don't know, but I've got plenty of cable. Alright, next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and pull those spark plugs out, check them out, and see how bad they are. Well, all the plugs on the passenger side are fouled pretty bad. You can see that very good. Number 3 is not too bad because it was only had a couple passes on it. But the passenger side, they're not too awful bad. They're still a little fouled. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to probably go up another heat range or two on my spark plugs. Alright, now I'm ready to do my compression test, and obviously the first thing you're going to need is a compression tester. This is just a cheap set from Harbor Freight. You just got to make sure you get the right adapters, which for these plugs you don't even need an adapter. You just can use the end of the hose. It's got a quick connect on this end. Hook it up, you thread this into your spark plug hole, and then hook this end up, and you crank it over, kind of let it pump like 3 to 4 times, and then take your reading. I get a notepad, and I'll put down each individual cylinder, what the readings are, It's just going to give me an idea of kind of where the cylinders are at compared to each other. Okay, we'll start out with number 1 cylinder. Ready to get in there. Hook it up. And you watch the gauge as I crank it over. I'll let it crank till it kind of pumps about 4 times, and that's about 4 times the piston coming up to top dead center on a compression stroke. Now I'll go through the rest of them and get a reading on the rest of them, and then I'll have to do some math, kind of figure out what percentage, if anyone's much lower than the other ones, and we'll go from there. Let's go over the numbers here. On the odd side, the driver's side, which we call left bank, they were all right at 110, give or take a little bit. I tried to round it. On the right bank, the even number cylinders, number 2 had 90 pounds, 4 had 100, 6 and 8 had 105. Now you don't want much more than a 10% difference from your highest number to any other cylinder. Now these were the same and these were lower, so we got to find a percentage, what percentage this one is different than the highest. So you take 90 divided by 110, and they get you 0.82. I rounded it up or down, whichever was, I think I rounded it up. And then you subtract that from 1, and that'll get you 18. That's your 18% difference. As you can see, this cylinder here is low on compression, lower than the rest of them, and it's 18% off from the highest, and that's not good. That tells you if you're really worried about it, this motor needs to be rebuilt. I knew that before I put it back together after putting the cam in it, so not a big surprise to me. And I do remember number 2 cylinder probably had the most visual wear on it. Now number 4 is 10% different, 6 and 8 is only 5% difference, so not too bad on those. Now here's the part that I don't understand. I was expecting these numbers to be on this side because all of these plugs are fouled more. So I'm not understanding that part, other than the only difference is these plugs, the one on my right hand here that was in this side, these are old plugs. I don't know how old they are. I've had them sitting on the shelf for forever. I think someone had a big lot of them and I got them from them, so I'm not sure how old these are. These were brand new, so possibly there's a quality difference, and I'm not even going to worry about brand. Let's not worry about knocking me on the brand plugs I use. I've used Autolite plugs for a long time, probably 20 years. So, and I've always had good luck with them, but I'm beginning to wonder if the quality's not there anymore. I've never had a problem with Autolite plugs fouling out like these have. So I may be changing brands of plugs. And with that said, feel free to put down in the comments below what plugs you would use. Not sure I'll listen to everybody, but I'll take everything into consideration. What I am going to do is I got some different plugs that are the next heat range higher, so we should be running a little cleaner on our plugs. I'll run them and see how they look. Now, one thing I do want to note is all of these plugs except for number 3, no, they had some back and forth to town, a lot of idling, a lot of just goofing around miles on them. Except for number 3. Number 3 was only had like, I think, 4 passes at the drag strip and on and off the trailer. That's about it. The main reason I wanted to do the compression test is to see how bad they were. Now, number 2 is pretty bad, but I think I'm still on the safe side as far as not having so much blow by to run the nitrous on this motor. Actually, it's probably optimal right now because I got a lot of ring gap. I got a lot of room for the pistons as well if I don't get my tune just right. So the main thing I wanted to get from this compression test is to make sure I didn't have anything horribly bad going wrong with it. Actually, the numbers were pretty well where I expected them to be. I expected them to be in the low hundreds. I wasn't expecting to see a 90, but it is what it is. So I think we'll be safe running nitrous. I mean, I've already got extra ring gap as it is, so I'm wondering if our oil control problem isn't you know, just the lower rings, the oil rings, not doing their job correctly and letting oil come up. So I think we'll be okay to run nitrous. So I'm gonna put my plugs back in there and probably go ahead and just get it loaded up on the trailer. I may do, I'm gonna check the header bolts and some other few things, and well, I've got it in here, and then we'll load him up on the trailer and get him ready for test and tune Friday. And we'll catch you next time on our way to the racetrack. And until then, you all keep your square bodies rolling, and we'll catch you later.